Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and it's been a week or so since I've recorded a video. The playoffs move on to the NLCS, which starts on Friday, and then the ALCS commences on Saturday. But we're down to 4 now, so went from 8 to 4 after last night. The Yankees were eliminated, and I want to talk about the last 4 teams standing. I was right on all 4 of my predictions, which I don't think was that hard to be right on, but nonetheless, I was right. Pat myself on the back for that one. But I want to talk a little bit about Mets, some Mets stuff as well, so I'm going to get into that right now. The National League pennant will be won by either the defending pennant holders, Los Angeles Dodgers, or the Milwaukee Brewers, and the American League pennant will be won by the defending pennant holder, the Houston Astros or the Boston Red Sox. So we're down to 4, as I said. These are the 4 teams I expected to advance. I did not expect the Braves to win a game over the Dodgers, so there was that. And I was glad to see that series go to 4 games. Only half of the series weren't closed out in 3. The Braves and the Dodgers went to 4. Of course, last night the Yankees and the Red Sox went to 4 as well. The Astros clinched not yesterday but the day before, so they clinched on Monday, as did the Dodgers. And I gotta say, the Astros look really, really good for a 100-win team. I don't remember their total. Maybe it was 103. I really don't remember. It's terrible that I don't remember. But they seem to have been forgotten in the shuffle of all of the talk of the Red Sox and Yankees rivalry and the 200-plus 100-win teams and whatever. But the Astros probably are a better team than both of them, and that's nuts. I mean, this ALCS is going to be outstanding. I can't wait to see it. These are 2 teams that are very complete. I've talked a number of times about how complete I feel the Red Sox are as a team. I think the Astros are actually better, if only because their starting pitching is better. And it's not a lot better. I mean, we're not talking like a huge leap here, but it's still better. There aren't any question marks in the Astros rotation, or aren't as many question marks in the Astros rotation as there are in the Red Sox rotation. So I'm looking forward to that series big time. And frankly, I'm looking forward to the NLCS as well. I'm really behind the Brewers. I think they are a fun group. It's for me and for us as Mets fans, watching guys like Yelich and Kane, two guys that should have been on the Mets radar last offseason and weren't, watching what they've done this season to basically carry the Brewers to the National League Championship Series, wondering what could have been if either of those 2 fellas were Mets instead of Brewers. We'll never know. Revisionist history, yada yada. But it's fun to watch those guys. I'm particularly happy for Yelich. I never hated Yelich when he was a Marlin. I disliked him, much like I disliked Ozuna, much like I disliked Stanton, but I never really hated any of those guys. The Marlins that I've really hated, Justin Bour. I mean, hated Justin Bour. The utility guy, I can't think of his name now, but he was on the commercials. Was on the commercials for a little while. I can't remember his name. He always kills them at Rojas. Rojas is the guy. I can't think of his first name now. Whatever. So anyway, my point there was I never hated those guys, and I'm sort of glad to see all 3 of them, all 3 extremely talented outfielders. I mean, like all-star caliber, all 3 of them. Nice to see them moving out of the doldrums that are Miami and moving to real teams where they can have a legitimate shot to compete for glory. the Marlins, I don't know. I mean, whatever. But Stanton's first real taste of the playoffs this year. Of course, Ozuna missed the playoffs with the Cardinals, but Yelich was absolutely the superstar of the three. Yelich is going to win the MVP in the National League, rightfully so. But my point on Stanton was that he had an underwhelming divisional series and an underwhelming wild card game. Yeah, he hit a home run, but whatever. I mean, Stanton and his strikeouts. Again, I don't hate the guy. I don't dislike the guy. I don't think he was the best of the three outfielders from the Marlins. I know he won the MVP, but I don't know. I feel like a guy like him is very one-dimensional, and you've got counterparts there in center and left field in Ozuna and Yelich, who are most definitely closer to the five-tool player that you'd like to see. So, in any event, I'm just glad to see those guys getting a shot at the playoffs. Who do I got? That's the question. I have the Brewers winning the National League pennant, and I have the Astros winning the American League pennant. I'm changing my mind on the Red Sox and Astros. I think it's anybody's guess, and I think both of these series are going to go deep. I do not think we're going to see a 4-0 sweep by either team, by either side rather. I think we're going to see at least 6 games on both series, which is great for baseball. It's great to avoid days like today and tomorrow, because now we have 2 days of nothing. No baseball tonight, no baseball tomorrow. It kind of bums me out. I really hate when there's no baseball, but there's no baseball. So I got the Brewers and the Astros facing off in the World Series. We'll talk more about what that looks like the next time I record a video, which will probably be early next week. However, I do want to chat a little bit very briefly about the Mets and their GM search, and I just want to throw something out there, and it's don't panic. There have been a ton of stories about how the Mets are dysfunctional, and they're turning the analytics guys, the younger guys, they all don't want anything to do with the franchise. And my answer to all of this, and my response to all of this, and my thought on all of this is nothing is done. Nothing is done. Let's recall a few years ago at the trade deadline, everybody was reporting the Mets were going to get Carlos Gomez, Wilmer Flores, tears of joy. How many people got that wrong? It happens. So before we all go crying about we're going to get stuck with some nobody GM or president of baseball operations or whatever they're going to be called, let's just let it happen and let's see what happens. Let's not to quote something that a Philadelphia franchise would thrust down our throats, but let's trust the process. Let's trust the process a little bit and just let this kind of happen. Let the Mets interview their candidates. Let them make the right decision for the team. That's the only thing that the Mets can do at this point. And as fans, we can't overreact to a theory that's being tossed out there by a couple of reporters. Maybe that theory will turn out to be true, and if that's the case, fine. But let's react when it happens and not because it might happen. So that is my Mets Twitter PSA for the day. So until early next week, when the championship series are both underway, I thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met, and as always, let's go Mets.